I'm not a feminist. I'm not into male bashing. But it is important we talk about this so that men understand that woman is expected to do a lot more than she can.
Today I sat with Dr. Aditi Govitrikar to unpack the pressures, expectations and silent struggles that modern women deal with and why men just don't see it.
She has to handle so many things. What goes in the child's tiffin? What is there for breakfast? Didi, ye khatam hua hai, we need to order this. All these things are even before she sits for her own breakfast. So much of the energy is over by then. And then of course she has to look a certain way. Plus, today with the social media pressure, there is this perfect woman who's handling
smiling
her life.
with the children.
We women are constantly either worrying or feeling guilty. And these two, in human life, are the most useless emotions.
Misunderstanding love languages create emotional distance between two people.
A relationship can fall apart. I expect my husband to understand or mind read my needs. That's not going to happen.
What would you recommend for someone to do? Let's be honest for a second. The secret sauce isn't really for everyone. It's for people who want to grow continuously to achieve their potential. So if that's you, maybe you should subscribe. I just want to understand more about your degrees, your amazing degrees from Harvard and TIS, which is Tata Institute of Social Sciences. Could you tell us about your time at Harvard?
So before Harvard, I finished my post-graduation in counseling from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. After that, I did my IGNU Masters in Psychology. And then I said, okay, now I need to get an international exposure to education. So I chose Harvard. It was a beautiful experience staying on campus, going to classroom, studying there. It really opened my mind to another level. So that was my Harvard experience. And I use it today because I practice as a psychologist and a wellness expert. And that's where I am at.
You know, you're a trained therapist. You've studied in so many places. You're a Bollywood actress. You're a model. You're running the marvelous Mrs. India pageant as well. Very important distinction. When you see women of all types from everywhere in India, what do you think are the biggest issues facing them today?
So the biggest issue a woman is facing today is that she is expected to do a lot more than she can and her capacity is. So that results in a lot of exhaustion. It results in multitasking. It results in burnout and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of anxiety, whether it is the external appearance or the internal, the well-being factor or feeling at peace or being, comfortable in her own skin. So these are the various issues that a woman faces. And I think this pretty much starts from a very young age going into, till she's 75, 80, whatever.
Yeah, got it. So, you talked about many things out here, exhaustion, yes. Burnout. You do hear that a lot. Women are exhausted all the time and they're always saying they're exhausted and people who don't understand it, which is men mostly, would be like, what are you complaining about all the time? Everything is fine. Yeah. What's the big deal?
Yeah. Or what did you do?
What did you do? What did you do?
Question in the evening, especially for homemakers, is that, but whole day you were at home. What did you do?
Yes. And that is a recipe for disaster.
Yes, indeed.
Why do you think women are so exhausted?
Because of the expectations from herself, the society, the family, the parents, the in-laws, the spouse, and the children. Right? It is multifold. She's surrounded by these expectations which are there on her, including herself. So that is what causes this drain of energy. And what do I mean by drain of energy? Now, every single day when you wake up with a pot of energy. Let's say that you have this much energy. Every small decision or big decision that you takes away some energy of it, right? And constantly, for you also, and the easiest example is, why did Steve Jobs wear the same clothes every day? To protect his energy. He had gone that deep inside understanding this concept, which is brilliant according to me.
I wear the same uniform every day. My mother gets very upset with me. But I wear the same thing.
There you go. So
I buy, if I like something, I buy 10 of them and 10 of the pants and I wear the same thing. So I don't have to think. The colors will change, but I don't have to think of...
Right.
Otherwise, it's a nightmare.
that's right. That's what it is, right? You don't have to think about that. Eats up that energy of the day. Why do you think that when we are on a diet, let's say, by evening we slip? In the morning you will eat healthy, you will have your bowl of fruits and muesli or whatever. By evening you want to eat
Some
something,
ice cream. I'm dying for ice cream.
samosa or something like that, because your energy is drained and you don't have the willpower then,
Right.
or the energy to kind of stick to the plan. That's what it is. Now, with a woman, coming back to the question that you asked me, why does a woman get exhausted? She has to handle so many things. What goes in the child's tiffin? What is there for breakfast? Didi, ye khatam hua hai, we need to order this. All these things are even before she sits for her own breakfast. So much of the energy is over by then. Therefore, throughout the day, when this is the drain that is taking place, and then of course she has to look a certain way, and she has to look elegant and dignified and take certain decisions
smile.
Happily.
Don't get
She has
angry.
to,
Don't shout.
Why are you getting so irritated? Why are you so annoyed? These are the questions, and that can lead to increase in the irritation, right? If you're angry and I'm like, why are you angry? You'll get even further angry. So that is the unfortunately what is happening. And plus today with the social media pressure of
in
all this
online.
In all this there is this perfect woman who's handling
smiling
her life
with the children,
and traveling, and perfect mother and all that.
6 kids looking good, and her kitchen is like a from a movie set.
Correct. So that is additional this thing, and then shoot the reel or whatever in case she's an influencer or on this thing that she has to. So all these things I think are draining a woman and then leading to exhaustion at the end of the day. And then your sleep gets destroyed because you're on the screen, which is affecting your melatonin production. Therefore, your quality of... See, we don't pay enough attention to sleep. That's one topic which I can talk about because I've done one of my courses that I did in Harvard, which is part of the psychology study, was sleep and mental health. So I can talk about sleep a lot. Now, we don't think, we always say, okay, sleep for 7 hours, sleep for 8 hours. But one also has to look at the quality of sleep, which definitely gets impacted by the screen. And today, I don't know of too many people who are not on screen before they sleep, because that becomes like their relaxation, which actually is not true. So the quality of sleep suffers. This adds up. It compounds. It is not simple, this whole thing that is happening. The other thing which a lot of people are not thinking about, including women, is earthing. We are so far away from Mother Earth. We are so far away from ground. Now, walking on ground and staying connected to Earth heals us. We are not doing that.
Is that a fact?
It's a fact. It's a proven fact.
Right.
So that is affecting the quality of sleep. Thereby, your energy pot is again getting depleted day by day by day. And then it adds up. And then it leads to burnout.
Got it. So it's very interesting, like what you say, the 24-hour cycle is such an important thing.
Oh man, circadian rhythm.
Yeah, exactly. The more you talk to people, I think most people don't understand how important the 24-hour routine is, because that actually becomes your life. That 24 hours is a snapshot of your 365 days, which is a snapshot of your life. They're like, one day. You're like, no, that...
It adds up.
If you get up early, for example, the day is chasing you. You're not chasing the day.
Yeah.
And that affects your whole life, for example. So, but what can... Given that a woman, whether she's a homemaker or working somewhere or of any age, how can they reset this cycle to keep their energy and not deplete it? What would be some tips that you have for that?
So in this, I would say two things. One is, like you mentioned, each day, how important it becomes to create the life that you want. And secondly, so that's look at your day, analyze your day, take time out, pause. This is very important.
Yes.
Pause. Maybe every week, just look at your week and how it went and where you can save your energy. So saying no, this is something that even I had to work on myself, assertiveness skill, to say yes to everything, because saying no felt bad, guilty. How can I not go for this social event? Or how can somebody's asked me to help them? How can I say no? Right? Saying no becomes a very important thing. So learn to be assertive. That's very important. Create boundaries. This is something that we'll talk in detail, I hope, later. So day to day is one thing, and then after a certain amount of time that you've spent with this battling these things, take time out, a week, 10 days, and do something which is away from everything and everybody.
That nourishes your soul.
Soul, yeah. So this is something that people get very afraid of. They're very scared of. Now, being a Vipassana, and so are you, being a Vipassana follower, I understand the importance of going within. So a lot of people challenge me to say, you're escaping. And I wish it was escaping. It is so not. It is so, it's the opposite of escaping, which you know. But the thing is that also helps you to reset. So every now and then, become aware of where you are at in your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, intellectual health, so on and so forth. And just press that pause button, press reset. And do not feel guilty, because we women are constantly either worrying or feeling guilty. And these two in human life are the most useless emotions.
So what is the reason? Can you, why do you think women feel more guilty and have a harder time saying no and all these things? Why is it harder for women than men?
Going back to evolution, I'll start from there.
Start from the beginning.
Start from the beginning, the Big Bang Theory. We women have been the nurturers. So as a nurturer, you are expected to stay in the cave, look after the children, feed the man when he comes home after hunting, keep the cave clean, so on and so forth.
Got it.
Right? So as a nurturer, you have to protect your young one. That means you have to be vigilant of anybody attacking your space, your little ones, and your...
Even if you don't have little ones today, basically. That hyper-vigilance
that's inherently there in a woman.
So are you saying that those roles that women traditionally played for tens of thousands of years since, man and woman and man evolved, it's all man only. And then, through the years you had, the agricultural revolution, technology, blah, blah, blah. But
industrial,
till... Let's face it, till, I don't know, 10, 20, 50 years ago, the role of a woman was pretty much the same.
Yeah.
It's only in the last, in the Western
few
world,
years,
over the last, since the 60s onwards, I guess, in the Western world, and in India, I don't know, now it's still going on, that a woman is breaking free of those 10,000-year-old nurturer roles. So is that the reason? It's still, it's ingrained in a woman, is it?
Correct. So that is evolution, right? Whether it's ingrained or not, it's part of our DNA to be that person. That was well-defined role. Now, last few years, like you mentioned, in addition to this, it's not that this part is being taken away or taken care of by the man. This still remains to be the domain of a woman. However, because now a woman has realized that, hey, I can go out and work. Or in certain houses or homes, they want a working daughter-in-law because they want the income coming in too. In addition to that, she's also going out, she's also earning, she's doing that role, which typically used to be a man's role. And what did the man do? He would go out, do his work, come home, and that's it. Now a woman, in addition to this, she's also doing this. So it's two roles which are merged into one. Brain has taken so many years and years to evolve to where we are. Suddenly the change has become too fast. And to adjust to that, it's taking energy, it's taking time. A man, however, has not grown as fast or is not even expected to. My son, who's 18, I have brought up both my children on a very similar platform. If my daughter is expected to pick up her glass of water and put it in the kitchen, so is the son. He was not given that, oh, he's a boy, so therefore somebody will serve. No. So one day he said, I didn't have help at that time, and he wanted a glass of fresh orange juice. So I said, beta, I have to leave. He's like, but it's only orange juice. You just have to put it in the mixer and take it out. I said, come, let's do this. Let's unpack this. I got him to peel the orange. I made him peel the layers and take out the seeds of every single piece. And he just looked at me. He's like, I don't want fresh orange juice. Because he realized how much work or time goes into making the simple, it's just a glass of fresh orange juice. What's the big deal? it shifted his thinking to understand these things. These things, today a typical man doesn't understand that how much work one needs to do at home. So when people say that, घर पे ही तो बैठी हो, क्या काम किया? Try sitting at home and running it. It's not as easy as it looks or seems. And to add to this, it's also that a man will do one thing, okay?
And say, I did it.
And the whole world will know about it. Right. And then everybody say, oh my God, he's so helpful. So I just look at them and I'm like, how are you even falling for this?
I pick up the kids from school.
And that becomes your highlight, and the whole world knows that Mukul picks up his kids.
Yes.
But one doesn't see so much more goes into raising a child, which I know you're a good father, and I know.
I mean, who knows? Time will tell.
We won't ask the kids. Kids will never. Kids will have a list, right?
No, they'll say that, but we'll see.
Yeah. So that's the thing. That one thing becomes the highlight, and the whole world knows about it, and it becomes a big deal. That, oh my God, he's so helpful. Whereas it's not so cut and dry and not so black and white. So men need to understand. And I'm not a feminist. I'm not into male bashing, and I'm not that person. But it is important we talk about this so that men understand that it is not that a woman is chilling, relaxing at home. There is
and then just complaining. It's a real situation. It's a real situation.
Yeah.
100%. So like you said, this cycle of a 24-hour energy depletion, it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and then it leads to burnout.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about what burnout looks like before it's burnout? How do you catch these signs earlier?
Yeah. So if you wake up in the morning and you're not fresh, you don't have that energy to get out of the bed and say that, I'm here, like, okay, this is my day.
To seize the day.
Yeah. If you are tired, that's the first sign. If you don't feel rested, you have to be, it's a sign. Okay. Wow. The second one is, if you get annoyed with things, which then you think that, oh my God, I should not have got irritated with so-and-so, such a thing. And then feel guilty about it, and that adds insult to injury. Be careful about that. So these are small signs, or get, constantly on the edge. You feel that you're on the edge. You're like, adrenaline is completely like constantly running through your veins and blood, and you don't feel relaxed. You don't feel calm. So these are the signs that you have to be watching out for.
So what could women do in these three areas to, something that to help them do this better, to feel rested, get less irritable, and less anxious through the day?
So first and foremost, don't be on screen for at least 1 hour before you sleep. I know easier said than done, but consciously, read a book, go for a walk, chat with your family members or somebody, don't be on the phone. Create a beautiful bedroom environment within your range, however you can. Please invest in a good mattress and a good pillow. It makes a world of a difference to the kind of mattress you sleep on, because you are spending about 7 to 8 hours in that bed, and you're healing. You're really healing from the day's stress, helping you to conserve energy and, really become a fresh person the next day. So good linen makes a difference. So all these small things matter.
Like a hotel, like I know what you mean.
I love,
Dress it up like a hotel, so you feel that I'm in a hotel.
Correct. And you can do it.
You can do it, yeah.
I love having chamomile tea before I sleep, because that really helps me relax my nerves. So things like that. So find out what works for you. It could be lavender incense. It's not too much, right? But create that environment for yourself which is very calming. If you like certain music, not dipchick music or not rock or not, but calming music, meditation music, or just, play that. So create an environment for, nobody else is going to do it for you. Remember that. You have to do it for yourself. So create that environment. The good thing about this is also the children are observing. If you have children, they're observing what you're doing, and that will set their life for future. So that's one part. The second part is that do not be afraid to ask for help, whether it is mentally or whether it is physically. Delegate. You don't need to be Jhansi ki Rani. You don't need to multitask, because again, we women, and in Marvelous Mrs. India, which is my pageant, so many women, when I do their sessions or whatever, with pride, they say that I'm a multitasker. That comes out as a strength. It is not a strength. In fact, it drains your energy a lot more if you monotask the same number of tasks that you have to do. If you're doing the same number of tasks, and this is proven, if you do it simultaneously as opposed to finish one, then second, third, you're a lot more productive and you will not be exhausted. Because multitasking is what? Your brain is constantly switching from this task to this task, this task. That drains your energy. So please don't be a multitasker. Where you can delegate, feel free. Do not feel guilty about asking for help, or actually even saying that this is not mine to do. You got to do this. So these will definitely help a woman conserve the energy. And like I said, that in a year, maybe 6 months, depending on where you are at, you are best judge as how often you need it. Take a spa day, get a massage. Regular massages help. If you love water, just water is a very, again, one other thing which I can talk about. We are 70% water. It has a very, very important role in our life. If you like swimming, if you have the access to it, swim, float on water, do a water massage if that's a possibility. These things help you to reset. These are small things.
There's that
which
type
can...
of that water thing, no? I forgot what it's called.
Watsu.
Watsu, yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's lovely.
Can you tell us about what is Watsu? It's like a water massage.
It's a water massage. So there are trained therapists who will do this with you. So basically, it's done in a pool. It's the temperature of the water is pretty much the same as your amniotic fluid. Amniotic fluid is basically the water that surrounds you when you are in a mother's womb, right? So it is the same temperature. And this lady, she will, I'm talking for a female just now, she will carry you in water. And even if you don't know how to swim or you're afraid of water, it's okay, because she will create that safe space for you in that water. Because it's not deep. The pool is not deep because she's standing there. The water is pretty much this much. She will carry you, and when you're comfortable, then she will just swirl you around. She'll make a pretzel out of you. And then if you're comfortable, she will tell you that, okay, give me a sign, and then she will take you underwater.
Oh.
Underwater, it's almost like being in the womb. You get that feeling.
Your face goes underwater also.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's not scary at all. It seems like that. And then at some point, like when I did it, the pool that I did it in, it had a glass. At some point, they put the light on. So it almost felt like a rebirth. And it was amazing. The whole feeling, it was really healing. And for some reason, I felt very emotional that day. So maybe it strips away the hardness or the cynicism that we women learn to mask ourselves or shield ourselves with. It kind of took that layer off, which was a very amazing. It was an amazing feeling, because to share something with you, like today, I as a female, I have realized that I have lost some part of my softness of being feminine along the way. So today I'm working at bringing that energy back, that feminine energy back to me. This helped me a great deal in going there. So it was an amazing, healing, beautiful technique that has been devised. And I really wish everybody could do it, experience it. It's beautiful.
Let's just pause for a moment. Now, some people like quick answers, while some people like to think deeply. If you're in the second group, the secret sauce is made for you. So please hit subscribe. You know, you mentioned guilt also.
Yeah.
And of course, we've all heard about, the burden of guilt that women bear much more than men. Why is that?
Again, it comes from upbringing, that you are expected to be a nurturer and now an earner, a breadwinner, partly. Now, when you have a child, okay, and you're stepping out, you're leaving your child behind, somebody else is caring for your child. So that automatically, that motherly instinct that I am supposed to be caring for my child, but somebody else is doing it, that itself creates a conflict in a woman's. And I have gone through this personally. So I know how difficult it is to leave a young one at home and go and work. And also because my mother was a homemaker, she was always there for us, and I wasn't. So that caused a little bit of conflict in my mind, and that created a lot of guilt. So then, when I used to be exhausted and then wanting to nap or even just relax, I used to feel no. My child is alone in that room, alone meaning with somebody else.
Right.
I should spend this time with the child. That caused that guilt. Or, oh, I forgot to order a vegetable which I was supposed to, or which my husband demanded, or my in-laws wanted to eat. It was not there at home. I was supposed to order, but I forgot in the scheme of things. Damn it. I'm a bad homemaker. At work, it is something else. So these things add
You have
up.
both. Like a man has, I'm a bad, career, whatever I am, XYZ, business person, doctor, lawyer, whatever. But a woman has that, and I'm a bad homemaker.
Yeah.
So it's double trouble, basically.
Yeah. So that adds to the guilt to again be the perfect wife. This perfection has played a big, an expectation of being a perfect woman. That has caused a lot of guilt in a lot of people.
And what about younger women, who are like, what would you say happens to like a 15-year-old or a 20 or a 25 who's not married, who's not still living with her parents, whatever, or working or whatever, but is a single woman? How does that, do they also have more guilt?
So for them, I think it is more focused towards how they look and who they are and what their achievements are. So for them, that becomes the issue. Today with Instagram or social media, that is putting a lot of pressure on young girls to look a certain way. So whether it is, your skin or hair or nails or, how you appear in the reels and what comments you're getting and the trolling bit and the friends reacting or not reacting, both can cause a lot of conflict in a young girl's life. So that itself, or the boy not liking her, or those kind of things are what impacts a young girl.
How do men and women, we're talking about this gap in a way between the perceptions of men and women. Psychologically, how do men and women differ?
Again, it boils down to the roles we've played and the expectations from a man and a woman. Look, I am not saying for a man it's easy. Life is tough, period, for everybody. How are they psychologically different is that, again, the identity itself is like a male is taught that his identity is connected to work. In a party or a get-together, the conversation will be, what do you do? Nobody is interested in who you are, what your likings are, which book you read, or that comes later, if at all. But it's pretty much what you do for a man. For a woman, it's different conversation. That creates a lot of psychological difference in a man and woman. Now, typically, let me speak about Indian household, where a boy is taught not to cry, not to express his emotions, because that you can't be vulnerable, you can't show because then you're a weak man. And that is frowned upon. Mental issues, sadness, grief is all pushed or suppressed, which itself gives rise to a lot of illnesses because mind-body connection is very strong. Psychosomatic zone, which now is being explored to a large extent, is also, a man also suffers through it. So that's a different thing. For a woman, she's supposed to do this, she's supposed to look perfect wife, that comes into the role. So that psychology, therefore, for a man and woman is very different. And it comes with its own share of issues and problems. So
Got it. Can you give more examples of behavioral aspects where women and men behave differently?
So one of the things is being assertive. A man will very easily say no and not feel guilty about it. A woman finds it very hard to refuse some work that is assigned to her at home or at job, wherever she's working. So assertiveness is a big thing. The second is setting boundaries. That, okay, this is like a man will come home and he'll say, okay, now I want to watch TV. I want to lie on the sofa. Somebody's serving him tea and this and that. And he's sitting and watching television, cricket or whatever. A woman comes home from work, same amount of work. she's expected to go to the kitchen, start working, and nobody's offering her a cup of water, a glass of water, forget tea. So this is what it is, right? This needs to be analyzed and worked upon. That setting boundaries, that okay, I have also come from work, I also deserve a cup of tea, without worrying or feeling guilty about it. That this needs to be, a man sometimes should offer it. You can, take equal responsibility of taking care of each other. So that is a very important aspect.
Got it. There's this, this author Brené Brown.
Yes.
And fantastic.
Yes. Being vulnerable.
Being vulnerable and the gift of imperfection.
Yes.
And she said a very interesting thing. She said that you cannot be compassionate unless you have boundaries. Because if you don't have boundaries, you will always feel used.
Yeah.
And resentful.
Correct.
And then you can't be kind.
Yeah.
You'll be irritated all the time.
Correct.
So unless you don't draw boundaries.
Correct.
For everyone, basically.
Yeah.
But women more, obviously.
For women more so.
Yeah. You spoke about marriage and you said relationship also. And I think what came to my head was pre-marriage advice in a way. Like, what advice would you give a woman or a man? That what conversations should they have with their spouse, their potential spouses, or their potential anyone in a relationship before you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband or a wife? What conversations should you have before you commit?
I think premarital counseling, according to me, into bracket utopian world, should become a compulsory thing.
That's amazing.
I think that will help a relationship not only last for a long time, but also in true sense a healthy, beautiful relationship which exists. It's not like, today we see a lot more divorces and a lot more relationships where each one is leading their own life, doing their own thing. But actually, if you look around, there are really great relationships that exist. And they exist because both the partners have consciously worked on it. It is work. It doesn't come automatically, naturally. So when you're talking about premarital counseling or premarital sessions, expectation management becomes the key. I expect my husband to understand or mind read my needs. That's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. Nobody is a mind reader, right? You need to communicate. You need to express it in a way that the person understands, because everybody speaks a different language. So there's a test on the side note. There's a very beautiful test which is available online. It's 5lovelanguages.com. If you do that, it really helps you understand your love language and your partner's love language. Because again, it's suppose, for example, to give an example, my love language could be acts of services. And say, if you
and I won't understand that. I'll just be like,
yours must be words.
Right.
And you will be saying this beautiful, making poetry, and I'm like, where is the coffee? You need to give me a coffee. That would make me feel loved. That's my love language. So there are 5 such languages. And if you can do that, test itself will give you a lot of insight into understanding your partner.
Amazing. mylovelanguages.com.
5lovelanguages.
5lovelanguages.com. I'm going to check it
do
out.
it. And it's good to do it with your kids also.
Right.
Because you will understand their... So
it's not only a partner, it's a relationship.
In any relationship. You can, yeah.
What are these 5 love languages?
So like we speak English, Marathi, Hindi, or whichever language, similarly, we human beings have 5 love languages. These pretty much are physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts, and the 5th one is quality time. What does this mean? This means that if my love language, and there are points, it's never black and white. There is always some overlap. So for example, my love languages are acts of service, 2nd is gifts, 3rd is physical touch, which means if I've scored 8 in one, I might have 6 in the other. Your love language might be something else. Now, if my love language is acts of services and yours is
quality time.
Quality time.
Mine is quality time.
Right?
Let's just think about this a little bit. What are my 5 love languages? Definitely quality time. Like for me, if someone spends quality time with me and if I spend quality time with someone, I do feel, I feel it's the biggest gift. And now I feel it's the biggest gift I can give anyone is me being present with them for whatever that period is. But like you said, the other person may
might not have that at all.
Yeah.
Right? And for the other person, if it is, say, material gifts.
Yes.
And you're not gifting and you're giving your time,
I'm
and
a
this
zero
for this
material
person,
yes.
it doesn't then feel loved or understood or like, oh, my partner doesn't get me even a rose. And for you, she's not spending quality time with you. So you don't feel loved. Therefore, there is a disconnect. If you do this test and you realize that your partner's language is this, you make that as the love language, and your partner makes your love language to express.
Half your problems will go.
Most of the problems. Most of the problems.
Because suddenly you'll be like, oh, I'm appreciated and loved.
Correct.
Both people will feel appreciated and loved. Correct. Which is the root of everything in a way.
So I'll share a personal story here. I had my daughter when I was really young. Of course, and none of my friends, they were even ready to get married, forget having a child. So pretty much she was the only little baby amongst all my friends. My little baby used to not cuddle and hug. And if I made her sit on my lap, she would run away. And I used to feel very rejected. Like as a mother, I used to feel, again, guilty. That what am I doing?
I would feel it as a father.
What am I doing? She's not even hugging me. She's not even sitting on my lap. I used to feel terrible about it. And this went on for a very long time till I discovered this. I got her to do it. Her score was 0. Kiara, my daughter's name. Her love language, physical touch is 0. She hates being touched. She just doesn't enjoy it. That was such a relief so late in life, but yet it was such a big relief.
What is her number one thing?
Time.
Time spent.
So,
and it's so interesting, because for someone who believes in touch, they can't, unless they do this test, they can't understand it. Correct. They'll be like, I want to hug you, don't want to hug me. Yeah. Why do you hate me? Or something like that.
Rejected. I felt rejected as a mother. And for a young mother who's not understanding these things, it was a big deal. So I was very sad about this thing so it changed my thinking and perspective where these things are concerned. So it's good to do this test. So premarital, pre-relationship, please take this test.
Free anything. Do it with your friends.
Understand your love language, right?
Yes. Amazing. Is it possible for someone to have more than one dominant love language?
Yes. Like I said, that the score varies. You might score same in 2 love languages. So you can have that, but there will be 1 or 2 which will be very low on your scale. So that is bound to happen. Yes. You will not score equally on all.
Right. Unless you're some mind-blowing human being.
No, that doesn't exist. That's again.
And how can misunderstanding love languages create emotional distance between 2 people?
A relationship can fall apart if you don't understand. Because day on day, every single moment, if I am expressing my love a certain way according to my love language, and that is not being accepted or even questioned by the other person, I'm going to feel very disrespected and sad about it, right? Then my partner doesn't understand how much I'm doing or what I'm doing.
Appreciated.
I'm not feeling appreciated. As a result, there will be annoyance, rejection, so on and so forth. The other person is like, Arey, she's not doing anything for me. Because he doesn't understand that, okay, she's doing so much.
It's like both people are not communicating.
So I'm speaking Greek, you're speaking Sanskrit. How is that going to come together?
Right.
So there is a book called Attached, which is a brilliant book, which again, I recommend everybody read. Attached is basically every human being has a style of attachment. So please read that. You will understand your style and you will understand your partner's style.
And when you say attachment, do you mean to only in relationships or to worldly things or to all attachments?
To relationships.
Only relationships, right? Can you tell us some more about the styles of attachment?
So, for example, it depends on your parents, whether they were authoritarian, authoritative, or submissive. So, for example, in today's day and age, I have a big grouse against parents who become friends with their children. For me, it is like, look, they have a lot of friends in school. They will have a lot of friends. They have only one set of parents. So don't be an authoritarian. Be an authoritative parent, which is a friendly parent. But be a parent. Don't be a friend. What does that mean? It's like your child needs discipline. They need pruning. It's like a gardener prunes your trees. A child needs that. It's very important for them to understand this.
What is that line? Can you give an example of when you're too friendly?
Okay. So to, again, give you an example from my own life, with my children, I created 3 buckets. In this, there is one bucket where the child gets to say whatever he or she, I have a boy and a girl, whatever they wanted. So certain things were left to them to decide. The third one was where I am the parent, I will decide. So there are no questions asked. Because I'm a parent and I understand life a little more than you do, I will decide. In between is a very fun thing, which is you want to do this, you need to convince me as to why you want to do it or not do it, whichever way. Convince me. Persuade or use your sense of persuasion or your power of persuasion to tell me why I should agree with what you want to do or not want to do.
The 3, I'm going to call it the 3 buckets of parenting.
Yes, kind of.
This very interesting concept. Did you make this yourself or what?
I think so. I don't even remember if it was, I read it somewhere or I did it myself. I don't know. So to give you an example, my son used to wear colorful clothes. So clothing was their decision. What they want to wear day by day, whatever, is their choice. So my son was very colorful. He wanted to buy green pants and would wear pink shirt and so on. And then he was very little. So one day he came very upset and he's like, people are laughing at what I'm wearing. So my thing also used to be go to their level when you speak. That's very important for communication with a child, that go to their level. You either sit down or prop the child up and speak to. So I said, see, this is your decision. Do you like your clothes? He said, yes. I said, then it's okay. If people laugh at you, you're not going to be making everybody happy. If it gives you happiness and if it is fine with you, then stick to it. It's okay. So that's the thing. Now, where the middle bucket is concerned, where he had to persuade me or my daughter had to persuade, suppose there is an exam the next day and the child wants to play. Why should I allow you to play if you have an exam tomorrow when you still have study to do? So then they would argue that, okay, I need a little bit of me time or free time, or I need to relax. Okay, how much time? And how is that going to help you study better? Tell me. That was the thing. The third thing was, their attendance used to be very, very good in school. I did not allow them to, just because I don't feel like I don't want to go to school. So that was non-negotiable. That you have to go to school unless you're unwell. I will decide.
Of course.
Because my son would fall sick left, right and center, pretend to. The minute I said, okay, let's go to a doctor, no, I'll go to school. Right. So that used to be a joke. Right. So these kind of things. So that helped them to understand. They had a sense of freedom. They developed their skills of debate and persuading somebody this thing. And there was some authority in their life to say that, okay, you need to listen to authority.
And I guess also what you did is you gave them a structure.
Yes.
Because the kids have authority today. They have all these 3 things.
Yeah.
But it's kind of nebulous for them. It's like, what is it? I don't know. Can I do anything? Nothing is in my control. Well, when you make these 3 buckets, a child can see that this thing is in your control. I want to talk a little bit more about the midlife of all humans, especially women. If you had to explain the changes that a woman goes through in her midlife in a simple language, how would you do that?
If you speak about midlife for a woman, it's pretty much her perimenopause, menopause and postmenopause, that time. So about 45 to 55 becomes a very important stage in a woman's life. Why so? So basically this becomes the midlife of a woman, where there are bodily changes that happen in herself, wherein the body is preparing for the menopause. Menopause is basically the periods stop, which means the childbearing nature, it stops much earlier because the eggs that a woman is born with, unlike a man. So man continues to produce sperm still very late in life, whereas a woman is born with a set number of eggs, right?
Or born with a finite number
of eggs, which then as she grows older, of course, because they're the same eggs, the quality deteriorates over time. That's why our parents used to say that have a child at the right time, so on and so forth. There was a reason for it. Now in menopause, it ends, the menstruation ends. In perimenopause, it becomes irregular. So that's a sign. Plus, there are a lot of physical changes or hormonal changes, which means hot flushes, getting irritable, weight gain, change in the hair, skin, nails. All these problems start happening. And then postmenopausal, so a woman is blessed with protection from heart illnesses, heart diseases, because of the hormones, which is estrogen and progesterone. After menopause, this is lost. Therefore, one needs to start looking at, the women need to start looking at that, their cardiac health as well. Bones start becoming brittle. So you need to start taking care, you need to take supplements, you need to work out, weight-bearing exercises, so on and so forth. So that is the midlife problem or issue or stage that a woman goes through. Now, other than this, what is also happening in her life is emptiness. So that identity as a mother, that, oh, I am not needed anymore, that sense is there, that sense of void she has to face. Suddenly there's emptiness. The third part is the parents are aging. A lot of people lose their parents at this stage. So a loss of parent or parents gives that sense of being, suddenly all alone or so on and so forth. That happens. So these kind of things happen in a woman's life. So there's a lot to handle. In addition to this, there is not too much awareness where menopause is concerned, because it is that, this is a normal part of life. You have to just bear with it and face the symptoms or whatever you're going through. What's the big deal? The women will say, we also went through it, the mothers and grandmothers. And the husband or the partner doesn't understand only what this is all about. Oh, she's cranky. Oh, she's irritable. She's hit midlife crisis and so on and so forth. So the understanding from a partner, or not understanding.
Got it. And what can one do to cope with this natural thing that happens, but which is quite disturbing for the person experiencing it?
So to be aware, again, for me, awareness or mindfulness is the key. Communicate with your partner, speak to your friends, and professional help is always something that I recommend.
Right. So you're a big advocate for professional health.
Of course.
Professional help. You're a big advocate for professional help.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, small pause. This is the part where I'm supposed to ask you to subscribe. But honestly, only do it if you want more conversations that actually make you think. That's the whole point of the secret sauce. All right? Back to it. You've said the word communication so many times, and obviously you see it as
the key.
Like literally the key, the one key. But as you know, it's so hard to do.
Yes.
Because you're so used to, you've already been in a relationship for a while, so you're already used to being rebuffed, your love language is wrong. So already you feel hurt. Everybody's feeling that after 10 years of relationship, everybody has different crosses that they're bearing.
Yeah.
That he doesn't do this or she doesn't do this, doesn't care, blah, blah, blah. And of course you get help, but other than getting third-party help, how can you give us some ideas on how to communicate more? How do you break these barriers in any area when I'm feeling, vulnerable or pain or whatever the hell I'm feeling? How do I break this?
How to communicate is that understand that the first year excitement and the lust and all that is not going to last. What is going to last is a strong foundation for a relationship. So build that foundation. So learn to do things which you both enjoy and create fun activities. And again, easier said than done, but it is work. You will have to work at it.
Can you give us some examples of this fun activities, just to give an idea?
So I'm going to give you the example of my winner from Marvelous Mrs. India. Her name is Anjali Kothari. She's been married for 35 years. She's 58 years, young. She's awesome. Anyway, so her goal or mission with her husband is to build healthy relationships or help build healthy relationships. She has an amazing relationship with her husband and they worked at it. She was just covered on a very popular Instagram channel, Humans of Bombay. And it's amazing what she shared. So it went through its own rocky patch and it went through its ups and downs. But today they share a very beautiful relationship. One need not spend 35 years to build that. Now, the example that I wanted to give you is that they shared this with me, that every Sunday both of them decided that they will wear traditional clothes and go out somewhere. So she wears a sari or a salwar kameez or a Indian, and he wears a kurta and whatever. And they go out. They dress up and they go out. It's just, building rituals,
Yes.
building these kind of habits, which is
Got
an
it.
integral part of it.
Got it. You had mentioned in the beginning, one of the things that women feel a lot is external pressure, to look in a certain way and to behave in a certain way. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Firstly, how would you describe the pressure that women feel today, for their physical appearance?
I think it started with fashion magazines going into Instagram now, where the requirement from a woman or the expectation from a woman is to look perfect, which is to have this Korean skin and beautiful hair and great body and great style and, super makeup in place. Everything is perfect. When we are looking at the reels, automatically, subconsciously, we think about where I am lacking. Whereas basically, you don't need those many things. You don't need that many lipsticks or makeup products or skin creams or so on and so forth. But again, that comes from wanting to be or look a certain way. This comes very much from your social media exposure. So detox is the key to stay away from it every now and then and to reassure yourself that you are complete the way you are. You might not be perfect, but perfection doesn't exist. Not in nature, not in human beings. So please don't feel that pressure, and you have to tell yourself that nobody else is going to do it for you. To be aware, to accept and embrace who you are. And that by that, I don't mean become a couch potato or go ahead and eat unhealthy and then make that as an excuse not to look after yourself. I'm a very big proponent of weight training. As much as I hate it, I don't like it at all. But I'm a big proponent. Why? Because of longevity and the quality of life that one has to lead. So focus more on that rather than just superficially looking good.
Got it. What is comparison detox and how do we do it?
So we human beings are so used to being compared and having to step up to whoever we are being compared to. It pretty much starts with your siblings. So parents need to pay attention to this, that please do not compare. Another thing which I feel very strongly about is labeling. That when we say, oh, you're a good boy, Mukul, or you're a bad boy, that's a label. Please don't label your children. Because what does that mean? If I am being constantly told, you're a good girl, Aditi is not allowed to make any mistakes. Can she do that? No. I am going to falter. I am going to make mistakes. When I do that, what does that mean? Oh my God, I'm a good girl. I made a mistake. Not good. That's not good. That kind of will eat up into my guilt and eat up into my confidence and make me feel guilty. You can always compliment or reprimand your child by saying, this is a great thing you've done, or this is a good thing that you've done, or this is a bad thing.
The behavior, not the person.
So label the behavior or the action, not the person. So that's very, very crucial.
When it comes to looks or when it comes to appearances, what is the difference between healthy self-love and unhealthy obsession?
Right. So how I would look at it is, healthy self-love is when you take care of yourself inside out. What does that mean? Skin. Let's take skin, for example, because it's easy, right? Everybody talks about Korean skin and this cream and snail mucin, so on and so forth.
I use snail mucin. It's so cheap nowadays. It's $600.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Cost.
Cost.
Yeah, that's very good.
They've really flattened it out, for the market.
Or the other end or the other extreme is Botox, fillers, plastic surgery to a very unnatural level, right? That is obsession, where you go crazy without taking care of your within. What does that mean? That what you're eating. So what I say is this, right? You, or an individual, is what you eat and what you think. If you pay attention to that, that is healthy self-love. By all means, take care of your skin. Why? Because skin is the biggest organ of our body. It's the biggest organ. You better take care of it. Externally, you need to take care of it by using mucin and creams and all, that's fine. But if you're only focusing on the external part of it, that becomes obsession. Constantly looking in the mirror, constantly checking, oh, do I have a line here? Oh my God, I've got a freckle. Oh my God. That is unhealthy. So that's the difference.
Balance the internal with the external.
Yes.
And speaking of that, like you mentioned, all these cosmetic procedures. So cosmetic procedures are completely normalized in our society now. How does a woman check? How does a woman stay balanced with that? Because you're seeing everything. You're on Instagram.
Yeah.
And the new normal is very different.
Yes.
From what it was before.
Correct.
What does a woman do today?
So the simple test is you should continue to look like your passport photograph.
Right.
But not your passport photograph when you were 16. So stay in touch with reality. By all means, go ahead and do whatever you need to do if that is what makes you happy. I'm not against anything because it's a personal choice. Whether I do it or not is different, but I don't stand in judgment for people who are doing it. Who knows, in future I might do it. I don't know. But be careful that you don't overdo it. You don't look like your skin is completely stretched and you can't move your face. Be mindful of that.
But why do you think that happens? Why do you think people do that? To a level which is, to outside people looks unnatural.
Because we human beings worship youth, youthfulness. That's the reason. So whether it is a woman or a man likes a young woman, which is, when it's a fact of life. And that's the pressure again, to look a certain way or to look younger, keep looking younger, even as we age.
What are the red flags that a woman is slipping into a negative relationship with herself?
Where she's constantly monitoring herself, looking in the mirror. Oh my God, this month I need this job. Oh my God, okay, I've got whatever number of units that she's done the previous. I need more now because there's one more line which I can see. So that becomes this. And like I said, that when you start looking like somebody else or not yourself, who's aging gracefully, you don't even look like your younger self. You look like a third person where the identity, like I have met few women who've been part of the modeling circle where I looked at the person and I'm like, who's this? I almost didn't recognize her. So that is too much. So again, balance. You're a Vipaschi yourself. Equanimity, balance is the key, even where plastic surgery or doing these jobs is concerned. So by all means, go ahead and do it if that's what makes you happy. It's fine. But too much is always detrimental.
Too much of anything.
Right. Is detrimental.
What should partners never say about each other's appearance?
I think body shaming is something which not only for partners, but as human beings, we should not do it. And again, I don't advocate that don't work on yourself. But to comment on somebody's physical appearance is a complete no-no. A parent needs to teach their children this, that you cannot comment on anybody's physical appearance, and the partner needs to continue doing the same, that do not comment. You can inculcate healthy habits. You can speak to your partner if you find that, okay, there are certain things that the partner needs to do without shaming, which means the words and the tone that you use become very, very important. So I think body shaming is something that should not be.
But see, more than body shaming, like for example, suppose there's someone who put on baby fat, a friend of mine, and then he lost it. So I know that she's very happy about that. And I met her and I said, oh, you lost so much weight, you're looking great. And she was happy with it. But interestingly, in my head, I thought after that, should I have said that? Because obviously I'm not going to body shame anyone.
Yeah.
But even that is still reinforcing
correct
that she should be slim. Although I know her, so I said it because I know that she would appreciate that.
Yeah.
But is that bad?
Yes.
Or am I crazy?
No, it's a form of, not particularly what you said, but commenting on these kind of things becomes a form of microaggression, which in India we are not aware of. What is microaggression? We are not aware of it.
Abroad in the workplace, it's very clear.
Workplace is different.
You cannot say one word.
But the joke, I mean, I like to talk about this, is that in India, we don't have weather to talk about. If we were in England, for example, who ruled us, they only talk about weather.
Good point.
Here, it's always weight. Oh my God, you've lost so much weight. So this friend of mine, every single time I meet her, she'll say, I said, finally, I got fed up. I said to her, I said, the amount of weight I've lost.
Yes. According to you,
I would have been that stick figure by now. I have not, and which is okay. I mean, but that's a fact that we have nothing.
It's a lot of time pass. I think people don't even mean it in a bad way.
There's an icebreaker or conversation starter, or there's nothing else to talk about.
It's a very good point. I think in India, like you said, we don't have the weather like England. So an icebreaker is not only weight, just physical appearance is an icebreaker.
Correct.
Which is actually a microaggression.
Correct.
That people don't understand.
That's like when I have this pet peeve, right? When people say, you're so well maintained.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I'm not a car.
Yes.
I'm not a well maintained car, So
that's a full microaggression.
I get
because that's like straight away saying that you're old and you look good for your age. You look really good. You look really good for your age.
I mean,
Thank you.
Initially, in the beginning, when I started, I used to have the pet peeve that you don't look like a mother of one. Right? Because I had my child very young and I was back on ramp when she was 3 months old. So I'm like, how is a mother of one supposed to look like? You don't look like mother of two. How is a mother of two? Now it is, oh, you're so well maintained. How is a well... I was like, oh my God, this is...
So be aware of microaggressions.
Yes.
And actually, this
be mindful.
Yeah. And so the bottom line is basically you should never comment on anyone's appearance at all.
Yes.
Anything, whether you mean in the best way, worst way.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. Unless the partner wants to.
Unless the partner wants to. Then how do you compliment your partner?
It need not be complimenting only about physical appearance. It could be acts of services. It could be something she's done for somebody else or you. It could be...
Let's suppose she wants, or she or he wants, he or she have, worn this thing and, done something to the hair or whatever. And they're looking for, like you gave the 5 love languages and one of them is words. And the words they're looking for is you're looking hot today.
See, that every woman likes to hear, no?
Right.
Or every man likes to hear. Who doesn't?
Hot is a good word.
But the thing is that be genuine. Right. You can't be fake about it. And firstly, I don't think men really notice if a woman cuts her hair, colors her hair or does something unless it's like really radical.
Come home with a perm.
I don't think that antenna exists in men. I have seen that, experienced it. So if a woman says that, oh, how's my hair cut? First notice that she's had a haircut and appreciate it. Or you can say that, yeah, it looks great or whatever. You don't need to be fake about it.
Got it. You created this pageant, this beauty pageant called Marvelous Mrs. India. And as you know, and as we all know, that pageants are usually seen as something where, women have to live up to an unrealistic ideal, and according to a lot of people, are to blame for a lot of the issues of, looks and all that women have today. But your pageant was created specifically to counter that.
Yes.
So can you just tell us what it's about?
Sure. So I think as a person, I have kind of not stuck to the mold right from the beginning. So being on Elle magazine when I was pregnant, which I got a lot of hate mail. It was mail that time after that because I exposed my pregnant belly at that time. Very artistically.
You didn't demi more.
Yeah, not so much.
No, of course.
Since we are in
a great country.
No. But yes, I was one of the first ones to do so. And whether it was participating in Mrs. World when...
And you exposed your belly.
Yes.
Right. That's a pretty big thing. That's a pretty big thing.
Yeah. Or being a doctor
and being a doctor, yes.
Coming into this field. Or going back to studying at this age. Again. When I participated in Mrs. World at that time, a lot of people ask me, why are you doing it now? What's the point? So for India, it was a very big step that I took, I feel, that for a married woman to be glamorous was not expected, or she was not allowed to go out in the open and say that, okay, she's even married. And here I went for Mrs. World because I'm like, Why are we putting ourselves in that box to say, because I'm married, I cannot be glamorous, or because
I cannot be attractive.
or
I cannot be.
or in a beauty pageant?
Yeah.
Why? Here was a pageant which was at that time it was about 20 years old, because it started in 84 or something. Yeah, 1984 is when Mrs. World started. In India, we weren't even aware of this. When I got the opportunity, I grabbed it with both hands, not only for myself, but I felt that married women need to take this step. And fortunately, because I won, things changed completely. Now, coming to my pageant, which is Marvelous Mrs. India, which I started because, again, of this unrealistic pressure. And when I think about it, I'm like, who decided how beauty should be defined? And why do we have to stick to it? Let's redefine the quintessential definition of beauty. Therefore, my hashtag is beauty inside out. What does that mean? That being beautiful inside ultimately reflects on your face.
Yep.
So we know that, right? A beautiful person walks in, we find, oh my God, he or she is so attractive, opens the mouth and speaks rudely to the waiter. And then you don't find that person so beautiful anymore. Why? Physically, it's
the
same person. Within you realize that person is not beautiful. If she or he is mean, it doesn't. So I decided that, okay, let me start something where we have real women, real beautiful women. And I don't just say it, because there are many other pageants which claim to be about women empowerment, but they are not. My hashtag being beauty inside out, my 3 winners, if you see, first one is a practicing doctor. Second one is one who happily embraces her curves. And third one is a 58-year-old with gray hair. She doesn't color her hair. She's, of course, one of the fittest participants ever in all 3 seasons. So my 3 winners are the proof that we are doing something right, because these are beautiful women. So that is what I have set out to do. And hopefully it will become a movement where we will redefine the typical emotion that beauty pageant, this word, evokes in us.
And do you have any anecdotes on what positive changes this pageant has been part of?
So many. I mean, we can do a whole podcast on just the changes that we've seen in the pageant. Starting with season 1, there's a girl called Neelam Rane. Neelam Rane came to me in the audition. She said, but ma'am, I'm just a housewife. I don't have the confidence. All my life, I have looked after my children. Now they've grown up. Now I don't know what to do. That's why I'm sitting here for the audition. So I told her, first and foremost, drop the word just. Let's change your narrative. You are a homemaker. It's a big deal. So that itself shifted something in her.
Right.
Today, Mukul, she runs a successful NGO for stray animals. Because in the first year itself, after the pageant, we had sessions where I asked her, I said, what do you want to do? You said you have time. And I knew that she was very fond of animals, and she would go and rescue. In the middle of the night, she will go and rescue a horse or a snake and things like that.
Wow.
I said, instead of working for somebody else or just running helter-skelter, establish your own NGO. Today, she runs a successful NGO. So that's a very beautiful story. Second year, we had a 72-year-old young Madhu Nathiani, who said that people are asking me, why at this stage do you want to participate? So I said, go and ask him, why not? Today, she's opening fashion shows, fashion weeks. She's walking for so many designers. She's doing theatre. So she's really flourished. She's blossomed.
Amazing.
Yeah, so age, again, is not a this.
Amazing.
So these kind of things. There's one lady this time who was very low on confidence, especially public speaking. Very, very shy. Very accomplished, but very shy. Today, she stood up on stage and answered so beautifully.
Yes.
So that is gone. So we have many such anecdotes and stories.
Nice,
I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud
Amazing.
of them.
To end this conversation, you had mentioned something called the 8 dimensions of wellness that you use. So as the end of this conversation, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So I call it 8 Infinite. 8 Infinite is basically 8 pillars of well-being. Now, when we take a human being has various aspects of wellness or not being well. What are these? So to make it easy for my clients or the people I work with to understand, I created this. 8 parts of your life. You have to divide them. And it's an exercise, right? You write it down and you figure it out. Where is it that you need work on? And then you focus on them and see how you can improve that score or that pillar so that it strengthens and you lead a very beautiful holistic life. Now, what are these 8 pillars? So the 8 pillars of well-being, or 8 infinite as I call it, is intellectual, emotional, financial, spiritual, physical, social, environmental, and nutrition.
Wow, that's very interesting. I'm trying to remember all of them, but as you say them, they slip, but it seems to be quite holistic and taking care of everything.
Yes.
So, how can one, just to end, how can one use these 8 pillars? Like, is there a weekly or monthly, system that you can, analyze this and write them down? Or what would you recommend for someone to do?
So the best exercise, or the exercise I take my clients or the group of people that I work with, is this, right? That we create a 5-year plan with your 8 infinite. And why I say infinite? Because there is no end to growth. So for example, spiritual, right? Now, if I have done 10-day Vipassana courses, is that enough? No, it's not. I want to do a 20-day, and being spiritual or going within, I mean, there's so much work that one can do. That's why it's infinite. Where physical health is concerned, can you be fitter, fittest? Yes, you can. When you become fittest, can you go to the next level? Yes, you can. Therefore, it is infinite. So the work that you can do is infinite, but we need to put goals to it so that for the ease of getting there. So you create a plan with 5 years in mind. So 5 years from now, where do you want to be? But it's a fair amount of work that you need to do, because you have to look at every pillar,
right,
and then work backwards. Work backwards to the level or to an extent where every day, what is a baby step that I need to take? Now, you can't work on 8 pillars simultaneously. So today, for example, in my case, it might be that my social pillar is weak right now because I've not had the time to connect with my friends or connect with my family. So I will take social bucket to work with for a month. After a month, I will analyze, okay, in the 8 buckets, where am I lacking? Or where should I work? Not lacking, because that gives a very negative, that word has very negative energy or connotation to it. Which bucket can I take up this time? Or say in physical aspect, if my goal is, when I'm doing yoga, to be able to touch my head to my knees by keeping my legs straight, where am I at? And how can I progress there? What are the steps I can take in every class to reach there? So you take up small baby steps or goals like this and celebrate each goal as you go ahead. Because that's a dopamine hit that you need to, again, reward yourself so that you move at a good, steady pace. Because consistency is the key.
Right. And you see good results with this system?
Yes, absolutely.
Got it.